If you work in the livestock industry or live nearby, you've likely noticed the impact of evolving environmental regulations. These rules can feel unpredictable. One year requires extensive reporting and new lagoons, while the next sees rollbacks of those same rules. What occurs when deregulation brings not only reduced bureaucracy, but also heightened uncertainty, community strife, and lack of clarity and accountability? Today, we'll explore the repercussions of deregulatory measures on environmental compliance. We'll consider their implications for livestock businesses, local communities, and the environment at large. Understanding livestock environmental regulations. First, let's clarify what these regulations entail. Environmental regulations governing livestock operations aim to address management of animal waste and nutrient runoff, nitrogen, phosphorus, air pollutants like methane and ammonia, water discharge into rivers, lakes, and aquifers, odors and noise impacting neighboring communities, land use and habitat encroachment. These laws are established at various government levels: federal, e.g. EPA's Clean Water Act and Clean Air Act; state environmental agencies; county zoning ordinances and nuisance laws for large farms, particularly concentrated animal feeding operations, CAFOs. Regulations may involve permitting, such as NPDES discharge permits; routine inspections and reports; waste handling specifications; establishing buffer zones from water sources or residential properties. Such regulations can be stringent, and rightly so, as livestock operations manage vast amounts of manure and runoff that can threaten ecosystems and public health if mishandled. Deregulation. What changes have occurred? In the past decade, there's been a noticeable political trend favoring less regulatory burden, especially within agriculture. The prevailing argument states that regulations are costly, bureaucratic, and often too inflexible. So, what specific deregulatory actions have unfolded? 1. Weakened Clean Water Act protections. The controversial rollback of WOTUS, Waters of the United States, restricted the definitions of protected waterways. This shift made it easier for livestock operations to avoid obtaining permits near streams, ponds, or wetlands, particularly if those water bodies are intermittent or seasonal. 2. Relaxed NEPA requirements. Adjustments to the National Environmental Policy Act reduced the environmental reviews needed for operations expansion. Consequently, fewer farms now need to conduct environmental impact statements, EIS. 3. Reduced EPA enforcement. There has been a decline in surprise inspections. The focus has shifted to self-reporting and compliance assistance instead of imposing penalties. 4. State-level deregulatory initiatives. Various states have enacted changes to nutrient management plans or odor ordinances. In several instances, budget cuts have depleted the environmental compliance workforce. While these changes have been celebrated by some in agriculture, they have also led to confusion and inconsistency, along with some backlash. Had new rules, new challenges. Ironically, the reduction in regulations hasn't necessarily simplified life for producers. Compliance is still necessary, but often poorly defined. Even amid deregulation, farms must adhere to existing rules. The challenge? It's unclear which regulations remain applicable and how local and federal rules now interact. That's where confusion. Farmers operating across several counties or states encounter varying regulations based on location. Smaller farms looking to expand may find themselves in a regulatory gray area. Economic risks. Financial institutions still demand environmental documentation. Deregulation may portray your operation as less stable or increase its liability risk. Community pushback. A decline in oversight can lead local residents to file complaints or lawsuits. Legal disputes and PR conflicts can be costly and strain relationships. Check environmental management. Amid deregulation, this is where reality hits hard. Without precise mandates or enforcement, waste pits may overflow during storms. Runoff from agricultural fields may contaminate waterways unnoticed. Odors might surpass acceptable levels, but who indeed defines acceptable now? Many farmers find themselves wondering, should we upgrade our waste lagoon now or wait for inspections to resume? Do we base our expansion on current rules or prepare for future regulations? The result often manifests as indecision, overcompliance, or undercompliance, none of which lead to positive outcomes. Voices from the ground. Tom, a third-generation hog farmer in Nebraska. Previously, the strict rules were frustrating. Now it's worse. I'm unsure who to contact since every inspector has been reassigned. My neighbors believe I'm ignoring the law. Janet, a mother living by a cattle facility. We used to receive inspection updates and water sample results, but that stopped 2 years ago. Now the creek smells like sewage and no one is responding. Dr. Langston, environmental policy professor. Deregulation doesn't eliminate pollution consequences. It simply transfers responsibility from regulators to citizens. That's not efficiency, it's deflection. Oh, strained community relations. Perhaps the most significant casualty of deregulation is trust. Neighbors often distrust farms that expand without oversight. Farms lose trust in regulators who continually change rules. Policymakers question scientists' warnings about air and water quality. These divisions fracture the social fabric of rural communities, creating conflict zones where every expansion draws scrutiny and every manure spill prompts scandal. Legal loopholes and accountability gaps. Deregulation frequently results in lawsuits initiated under state nuisance laws, environmental groups pursuing citizen-enforced penalties, farms seeking private legal protection amidst once public regulatory lapses. Ironically, what aimed to reduce government influence sometimes leads to increased courtroom battles. When communities lose confidence in oversight, they resort to other avenues: media, lawsuits, and protests. Ecological consequences, the wider perspective. Reduced inspections and lowered standards can yield soil degradation, algal blooms caused by phosphorus runoff, nitrate contamination of groundwater, ammonia buildup in the atmosphere, disruption of local ecosystems. Unfortunately, remedying these issues can take decades rather than months. And navigating compliance in an uncertain climate. Savvy producers are discovering strategies to stay ahead in a shifting landscape. Here's how they do it. Best practices for livestock operators. Engage third-party audits to uphold credibility. Participate in voluntary environmental certification programs. Invest in digital monitoring systems for waste and air quality. Establish transparent community relations plans. Stay involved in state policy debates, even during deregulatory periods. The key message? Don't wait for the rulebook. Take initiative. Sustainability isn't just a trend, it's a necessity. Yeah, what lies ahead? Policy cycles are in flux. What might be deregulated today could be reinstated tomorrow. Experts anticipate stronger state regulations to fill federal voids, federal re-regulation under environmentally conscious administrations, market forces compelling retailers to demand eco-certifications. The core takeaway? Flexibility is essential. Short conclusion. Responsibility evolves, it doesn't disappear. Compliance is about more than legality, it's a strategic imperative. It concerns safeguarding your land, your neighbors, and your legacy. Regardless of regulatory oversight, the environment remains in constant observation. Deregulatory initiatives may alter the landscape, but the stakes endure. Clean water, safe air, resilient communities, and sustainable agriculture. For livestock operations, the critical question shifts from what are the rules to what kind of environmental steward do we aspire to be?